Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. And before I get into anything, I do want to mention that I'm hosting another giveaway in my Discord. So if you want to win a copy of Deadside, hop in my Discord and hit the reaction in the giveaway channel. Okay, so today I want to talk about some balance changes that I think should come to Deadside. There's a lot of balance changes that have happened since this update, and I think the update has actually been pretty good overall. I know some people have been asking what I think of it, and I really like it. But this is an early access game after all, and this update was a lot of foundations to build on, so of course there are improvements to be made. This video is just about game changes that I think should be made to better balance different aspects of the in-game economy and overall PvP as a result. I'm only going to be talking about things that are already in the game and things that I think should be adjusted, so I'm not going to be talking about things that I think should be added in the future. That's a subject for a different video. So let's get into it, and first I want to talk about base crates. With this update comes rating, as well as base registration and a lot of new base features that kind of makes the old base quirks a little more dated and a little more annoying. In general now there is just more things you need to store, there's attachments, there's more crafting material, and you will now have more players in one base too with registration, but you still can't place over 3 base crates in one base. I'm not sure if this is something that is going to change in the future. I'm pretty sure I've heard them mention something about this. I can't imagine it's going to stay like this forever. At the very least, I would imagine that more players registered to a base will raise that cap to 6, 9, 12. You get the idea. But even still, I think there really shouldn't be a limit to the amount of crates you should put in a base. With raiding in game, having a base comes with a lot more risk compared to before. Your stuff is now vulnerable. So shouldn't that also mean it comes with more of a reward? Before this update without raiding, if you could have unlimited base crates, that would be overpowered obviously because you could never be raided, so you would just have unlimited storage. But now, the more crates you have, the more vulnerable your base is to being raided, because you will have to have more space for those crates. You're going to be getting stuff, so that means you're going to be more active. That probably means you're going to die more, and that means you're going to drop more raid tokens, and that means there's going to be more chances for people to raid your base if you have more base crates in general. But I'm not suggesting that base crates should be just unlimited and leave it at that. They need to be more expensive for this to be balanced. Obviously, just collecting more cheap metal for more storage is too easy. They need to maybe have a code lock that gets consumed whenever you use one. That would make base crates a lot more expensive and time consuming to make. You could maybe even make it so that you have to have 2 or 3 code locks for a base crate. I'm not really sure the best way to balance this, but I do think that bottom line, there probably shouldn't be a limit to the amount of crates that you could build, and the crate should be more expensive as a result. It needs to be this way so the game is more playable. The whole gameplay loop stops if you run out of storage to store more things, because at that point, that whole gameplay loop of putting more things into your base and collecting more skins, attachments, that all stops if you run out of storage. And with more things to collect now, I think there should be more storage too, and I think it would just be an overall good thing to come to the game. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is convoys, and I think convoys are just a little too good. Considering everything you are guaranteed to get at a convoy, it is just simply one of the best events in the game to do. You are guaranteed either a heavy assault vest or a VSD and a ghillie suit depending on which boss spawns. This is not like any other event in the game. If you go to a cargo drop, you might get, a Mosin and an AK, or maybe you'll get a 50 cal. You don't know, you're not guaranteed anything. Same with a mission reward or a helicopter drop. They could be very good, but they could also just suck. Convoys are not like this. You will always get a heavy assault vest or a VSD. That's just how it is. This makes them very much worth going to because you can just go and get exactly what you want if you take out the boss. The bosses are just simply too good. They are too profitable. You're a guaranteed good gear every time you go there. And I think even if you adjust the spawn rate of the event in the admin panel, that doesn't change the fact that the economy is now going to be flooded by VSDs and heavy assault vests, as well as ghillies. I really do think that the spawn rate of the loot that is actually on the boss should be adjusted to include more items that are worse. So maybe sometimes the machine gun boss will have a different gun or a worse vest, maybe just an assault vest and an assault helmet. Maybe the VSD boss has a Mosin or an assault rifle that it's using as a DMR. I think that'd even be good for variety. I think it gets boring fighting the same boss over and over again. So even if they do have worse loot sometimes, seeing different guns and different armor would be kind of cool. It also means you won't get those skinned armors all the time too, which will make them more rare and more valuable, which is probably a good thing in the player economy. The other thing about the Convoy is the case, and I think it's universally agreed on at this point that the case is just not worth the risk. The fact that you're marked on the map whenever you pick this case up and people know exactly where you're going makes you extremely easy to intercept and kill, and the reward you get is just not worth that risk. I don't see a reason why more items like money, dog tags, keys, explosives could just be added to this case, and maybe make more items come out of the case in total, like 4 to 6. Even if more things are added into the case in the future, like skins or that special skin currency for the whole Steam terminal system. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I'm pretty sure the case is going to be involved in that. Either way, more variety in the reward is good. I think bottom line, the case needs to be more valuable. Right now in Convoys, the focus is on the boss and not the crate, which I think is kind of backwards, and I don't see why it couldn't be adjusted. Now, there are some bugs with the Convoy at the moment, and I'm not going to talk about them because I know that they are currently being fixed, so there's no point in talking about them here anyways. Now, for the biggest part of this video, I'm going to talk finally about the VSD. The VSD is arguably the most useful weapon in the game. It's good at everything. It clears out missions, helis, convoys with pretty much no problem. You can just sit back and plink the bots. It kills players easily and safely from long distance. It's probably the best gun in the game for getting gear and profiting. You can even use it at close range if you need. You can just spam it and hipfire. It's actually comparable to the N4 shotgun in that way because it deals similar damage at the exact same fire rate. Compare that to a weapon that is much more rare, like the grenade launcher or a 50 cal. Sure, they are more deadly to players, but you will make less profit using those weapons, and you will have a harder time clearing out missions, helis, and convoys. And even still, the grenade launcher and the 50 cal are not that much better at killing players. The VSD still drops most players very, very quickly, even if you have to shoot twice. Before I go any further, I have to explain weapon tiers and rarity. When it comes to weapon rarity, I kind of organize weapons in my head by these tiers. Tier 1 is anything you can just find around the map, like, you know, civilian stuff. Tier 2 is stuff that spawns in military areas. This includes some things you can buy from the traders. Tier 3 is the things that are only available from event rewards, so the AR4, the VSD sits in this category, kind of. The UAG, N4, all those types of weapons that you'll find in cargo drops and in mission rewards, that sort of thing. And then finally you have Tier 4, which is the 50 cal and grenade launcher, which are considerably more rare than all the other Tier 3 weapons, and all their ammo is only available from the wandering traders. So the VSD compared to these Tier 3 or Tier 4 weapons is the easiest to get out of all of them. You can find them on the convoy boss, you can find them sitting in the lighthouse. They're pretty common from cargo drops and all the mission rewards like the rest. You can always just buy one at the trader. Now, the VSD technically sits in Tier 3 rarity, however, it is the most common weapon in that rarity, because you have that 50% chance to get it out of a convoy, and they also just spawn in the lighthouse. The VSD is the only weapon out of Tier 3 or 4 to just spawn on the floor. It still kind of melts my brain that it's even able to spawn there, because you could just farm the lighthouse so easily for a bunch of VSDs. So it's more common than the Tier 3 or 4 weapons, and it's more useful than all of the Tier 3 or 4 weapons in some situations, and it's the most profitable out of all of them as well. It should probably be treated as a Tier 4 weapon. It shouldn't spawn anywhere on the floor in the lighthouse, same with Tier 4 items. It should be considerably more rare than it already is. Right now in the game, there's just way too many VSDs in circulation. Whenever I see anybody who has any decent amount of gear, they are always running a VSD. And I don't blame them, there's no reason not to. It's such a good all-around weapon that you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot if you don't have one. And I personally think that PvP against VSDs is just not that fun, especially if the player is smart. Even if you have a VSD yourself, it kind of just comes down to whoever lands the first shot or sees the other person. This flood of VSDs hurts the quality of PvP, and the lack of variety in that PvP impacts replayability. Eventually, using the VSD or getting killed by the VSD will get boring. I don't know about you guys, but in my experience playing this update, I am getting so tired of being killed over and over again by people using VSDs with ghillie suits just sitting in bushes or camping mission rewards or helis. It's just so repetitive, and the people using the VSDs aren't risking anything because they're sitting so far away. It's just very dull, I feel like. Now, they did nerf the VSD in its performance. There's slightly more recoil now, but even still, you should always adjust weapon rarity before adjusting its performance, and even the recoil buff basically did nothing. It's just as good as it was before. This whole issue ties in with the convoy issue because one of the bosses always has a VSD, and it makes it a lot more common as a result. So like I mentioned earlier, if you adjust the spawn rate of the loot that the bosses have, it could help mediate this other issue of the complete and total flood of VSDs into the player market. Overall, all I'm trying to say is that the VSD is just simply too good for how common they are, and they should be significantly more rare. I think they should be treated as tier 4, they should be much more rare to get off the convoys, and they definitely should not be spawning on the floor. Maybe you guys disagree with that amount of rarity, but I'm pretty sure the majority of us can agree that they should be more rare in some way. So the next thing I want to talk about is just general weapon balance. There's not much to talk about here, to be honest. Outside of the VSD, all of the other weapons are doing pretty good. Muzzle brakes though, some could be better. The BB-19 and MR5 muzzle brakes are not really all that good. Otherwise, the rest of the muzzle brakes are very good. I like the amount that they reduce recoil, and I do like their rarity. I just wanted to mention the BB-19 and MR5 one because I think they're kind of disappointing. I think magazine extension should be a little bit more common. They should maybe spawn on the floor in military areas or on military bots. I mean, all they do is just give you 10 more rounds in your bag. That's not a huge deal, so I don't see why they can't be a little bit more common. Like I said, weapon balance right now is pretty good outside of the VSD. The UMR is finally actually pretty balanced. I like its recoil pattern. I feel like it's less accurate now, but it's still very good and it's definitely worth the money. It's just not the all-around best SMG anymore, which is a good thing. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here is mission reward camping. I've mentioned this before, but mission camping now is easier than ever. I do like the little check mark that appears over the mission reward whenever you complete it, but that check mark makes it very easy for other people in the area to find the reward and camp it. And I'm fine with the idea of mission camping, I just don't think the game should make it so easy for the camper. I see no reason why the reward shouldn't be only shown to the player that completes the mission itself. Sure, it would make the mission harder to camp, but that's the point. You'll still get a global message that says the mission is complete, and if you're paying attention, you'll know exactly where the player is because of their gunshots that killed the last bot to complete the mission. All you have to do is just see where they go. It gets really annoying when you complete a mission and almost every time there is somebody with a shotgun or a VSD sitting by the box you just spent 15 minutes to half an hour even working for. And again, I'm fine with the idea of mission camping. You should be able to do it, obviously. I just think it should be harder than watching a glowing blue box that appears through walls to anybody in the area. If the mission reward was only showed to the person who completed the mission, that would mean that anyone else that shows up to the mission would just try to kill you while you're killing the bots. That's actual PvP, and then just complete the mission themselves. In my time playing this update so far, I have been killed at or going to the crate more often than I've been killed actually doing the mission itself. I think that's a big problem, because I don't find that kind of PvP fun, but maybe you guys don't see that as an issue at all. Let me know about what you guys think about this idea. Do you think it's not even an issue, or maybe you think it is an issue that just isn't worth the devs' time? I don't see very many people talking about this, so I'm interested to see what you guys think. Overall, there has been a lot of good balance changes that came with this update. I really like the fact that tier 4 weapon ammo is at the roaming trader only. The easy and medium missions seem more rewarding than before. That's kind of just me guessing, but I have been enjoying them. The helis seem a lot less profitable, but still very good. Again, guesswork, but I feel like they are more balanced for how hard they are to do. I do like that the traders sell less of the high tier items and scopes. I really do like the incentive on going out and finding it yourself instead of just buying it for money. I think the game right now is heading in a very good direction. Talking about changes like this is just part of an early access game. We should make our opinions heard so that the dev team knows what we want in the game that they're making. But these are just my opinions. If there's something you disagree with or something else you want changed that I didn't mention, let me know in the comments. Overall, I'm loving this update. The game is very fun and there seems to be a lot more depth in the game overall. New future add-ons like vehicles and Steam Terminal will help this game get to where it needs to be. And I'm really excited to see where this game heads in the future. So remember to join my Discord for the giveaway. I also have a Deadside server. If you're interested, just search Loafs Bakery in the browser. And that's all I have for you guys today. Nerf the BB-19, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya. ran out of outro music. Just click on something for me. Thank you. That'd be great. Yeah.